Welcome to the Narrative Mindset Podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, I would appreciate it if you went back and viewed previous episodes when you get time. I didn't know how to deal with death. Still don't. People say it's a process. It's a journey, a spiral. But it feels more like a break-in. Like someone kicked the door down and rearranged the furniture while I was sleeping. And now I wake up every morning in a house that looks almost the same but smells like absence. They don't tell you that grief is boring, that it's repetitive, that it loops, that it shows up in the cereal aisle when you're just trying to buy oat milk, that it hums in the background like a broken fridge, that it makes you forget passwords and your own name and why you walked into the room. They don't tell you that grief makes you stupid, that it makes you say things like, I'm fine, when you're clearly not, that it makes you laugh at things that aren't funny, that it makes you cry at commercials, that it makes you forget how to be a person. I used to think death was a moment, a clean break, a before and an after. But it's not. It's a smear, a slow leak, a stain that won't come out, no matter how many times you wash it. It's the sound of your own voice saying, she's gone, and not recognizing it. I didn't cry right away. I didn't scream. I didn't collapse. I just sat there, quiet, still, like someone had unplugged me, like someone had hit pause on the part of me that knew how to feel. And then it started, the spiral, the loop, the weird rituals, the checking our old text, the replaying voicemails, the Googling. How long does grief last? Like it's a cold, like it has an expiration date. Spoiler, it doesn't. People try to help. They say things like, she's in a better place, or at least she didn't suffer, or you'll feel better soon. And I nod, I smile, I say thank you. But inside I'm screaming. Inside I'm throwing chairs. Inside I'm saying, please shut up. Because none of it helps. None of it brings her back. None of it fills the space she left behind. I started making lists of things I missed, lists of things I wish I'd said, lists of things I'll never get to do with her. And then I stopped because the list got too long. Because the list started to feel like punishment. I tried therapy. I tried journaling. I tried meditation. I tried screaming into pillows. I tried walking until my legs gave out. I tried pretending I was okay. I tried pretending she was still here. I tried pretending I was someone else. None of it worked. Grief is a shapeshifter. It's not just sadness. It's rage. It's guilt. It's confusion. It's numbness. That's all of it. Sometimes all at once. Sometimes none at all. Sometimes it sits there, quiet, waiting for you to forget so it can jump out and say boo. I started talking to her out loud, in the car, in the shower, in the grocery store. I say things like, "Did you see that?" Or, "You would have hated this." Or, "I miss you." And sometimes I'd hear a voice in my head, not like a ghost, not like a hallucination, just like memory, just like echo. I started collecting her, little pieces, a scarf, a recipe, a voicemail, a photo, a weird rock she gave me once and said, "This is you." I don't know what she meant, but I kept it because it felt like something. I started dreaming about her, not every night, just sometimes. And in the dreams, she was always laughing, always wearing velvet, always saying something cryptic like, "Don't forget the moon." And I'd wake up crying or smiling or both. I started noticing things: birds, leaves, songs, things that felt like her, things that felt like reminders, things that felt like she was saying, "I'm still here." And maybe she is, not in a ghost way, not in a spiritual way, just in the memory way, just in the echo. I started writing, not for closure, not for healing, just to say her name out loud, just to keep her alive in some way, just to make sure I didn't forget the sound of her. And that's the thing. That's the part they don't tell you. Death isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering. It's about holding on. It's about making space for someone who isn't physically here, but still takes a room in your heart. I didn't realize how much of my life was shaped by Birdie until she was gone. It's like she was a tuning fork, and I was always humming to her frequency without knowing it. And when she left, the pitch dropped. Everything felt off key. She wasn't my mother. She wasn't even around all the time. But when she was, the air changed. Like someone cracked a window in a stale room. She didn't knock. She just showed up. Velvet coat, chipped nail polish, a bag full of strange snacks and stranger stories. She'd say things like, I brought you a mango and a warning. And then laughed like she knew something the rest of us didn't. She never explained herself. That was the thing. She didn't need to. She moved through the world like it was hers to interpret. Like she had a private contract with the universe and the rest of us were just trying to catch up. I remember one summer, must have been 10. She took me to Belle Isle. We didn't do anything special, just walked. She pointed at trees and gave them names. That one's Clarence. That one's June. That one's probably hiding something. I asked her why she did that, and she said, because everything deserves to be known. That stuck with me, still does. She had this way of making the ordinary feel sacred. She'd light a candle before pouring tea. She'd hum while folding laundry. She'd talk to her plants like they were old friends. She once told me, ritual is just love with a schedule. I didn't get it then. I do now. Birdie didn't believe in small talk. She believed in big silence. She believed in asking questions that made people uncomfortable. What are you pretending not to feel? When did you last tell the truth? What would you do if no one was watching? She didn't ask to be polite. She asked because she wanted to know. And if you didn't answer, she'd wait. She was patient like that, unsettlingly patient. She wasn't easy. Let me be clear. She could be sharp. She could be stubborn. She could cut you with a look. But she never lied. And she never asked you to be anything other than exactly what you were. That's rare. That's holy. She had this old cassette recorder. She called it her truth machine. She carried it around and recorded herself talking. Not for anyone else, just for her. I found a box of those tapes after she died. I haven't listened to all of them yet. I'm scared to. But the ones I have, they're like time travel. Like she's still here, whispering secrets through static. One of the tapes was just her laughing for 5 minutes straight. No words, just laughter. It starts soft, then builds, then breaks into coughing, then starts again. I cried listening to it, not because it was sad, because it was her, pure, unfiltered, alive. She didn't believe in legacy, she said. People remember how you made them feel, not what you did. And she made me feel brave. She made me feel like being weird wasn't a flaw. It was a compass. She gave me a rock once, just handed it to me and said, "This is you." I asked what it meant, and she said, "Heavy, solid, overlooked. But you hold heat." I still have it. It's on my desk. I touch it when I forget who I am. She used to write letters, real ones, on paper, in cursive, with stamps. She'd send them Even if we just talked on the phone, they weren't long, just a few lines. Saw a crow today, thought of you, or don't forget to look up. You're not crazy, you're just awake. I kept every one. She had a way of showing up when I needed her the most. Not always physical, sometimes just in a dream or a memory or a phrase that popped in my head like a song lyric. She'd say things like, "You don't need permission to be whole," or "Let it hurt. That's how you know it's real." She didn't believe in closure. She said, "Some doors stay open, some wounds don't scab. That's not failure, that's life." I used to argue with her about that. I wanted neat endings. She didn't. She wanted truth. She was the only adult who didn't flinch when I cried. She didn't try to fix it. She didn't hand me tissues like I was leaking. She just sat there, quiet, present, like grief was a language. She spoke fluently. She taught me how to listen, not with my ears, with my whole body. She said, "Most people don't want to be heard. They want to be agreed with. Don't give them that. Give them silence. See what they do with it." She made me feel seen, not in the Instagram way, not in the "you're so brave" way, in the real way, in the "I see your mess and I'm not leaving" way. She once told me, "You're going to lose people. It's going to hurt. But don't let that make you smaller. Let it make you louder." She didn't leave a will. She didn't leave instructions. She just left. And in a way, that was the most birdie thing she could have done. No goodbyes, no ceremony, just a velvet coat on a hook and a half-burned candle on the windowsill. I went to her house the day after she died. I didn't know what I was looking for. Maybe a sign, maybe a scent, maybe her. I walked through every room. I touched everything. Her books, her scarves, her weird little trinkets. I opened drawers. I looked for letters. I found a note that said, "Don't forget the moon." I taped it to my wall. I started collecting her, not in a creepy way, in a desperate way, in a "don't let her disappear" way. I saved her voicemails. I copied her recipes. I wore her rings. I lit candles that smelled like her. I played her favorite songs. I said her name out loud every day. I started writing about her, not for closure, not for healing, just to keep her alive, just to make sure I didn't forget the sound of her voice, just to make sure the world didn't move on without remembering her magic. She wasn't perfect. She was messy. She was stubborn. She was loud. She was wrong sometimes, but she was honest. And that's rare. She told me once, "You don't have to be understood to be loved." I didn't get it then. I do now. I used to think moving on meant forgetting, packing it up, sealing the box, putting it on the shelf labeled past. But that's not how it works. You don't move on from death. You move with it. You carry it. You learn to balance it. You learn to breathe around it. I didn't wake up one day and feel better. I didn't have a breakthrough. I didn't find closure. I just kept living, kept walking, kept making coffee, kept answering emails, kept crying in the shower, kept laughing at things she would have loved, kept saying her name under my breath like a prayer. I started noticing the way grief changes shape. At first it was loud, sharp, constant. Then it got quiet, sneaky. It showed up in dreams and smells and songs and the way I hesitated before saying I'm okay. I started learning how to hold it without letting it drown me. I started learning how to talk about her without breaking. I started learning how to let her live in me instead of beside me. I started learning how to be the kind of person she saw when she looked at me. She used to say, "You're not broken. You're just loud in a quiet world." I didn't get it then. I do now. I've stopped trying to be quiet. I've stopped trying to be palatable. I've stopped trying to be easy. I've started telling the truth. I've started saying I miss her without apologizing. I've started making things again, writing, recording, speaking, not for perfection, not for praise, just to feel alive, just to feel connected, just to feel like I'm still here. I've started building rituals, lighting candles, playing her favorite songs, talking to the moon, not because I think she's watching, but because it helps, because it feels like love with a schedule. I've started helping other people grieve, not with advice, not with platitudes, just with presence, just with silence, just with the kind of listening she taught me. I started saying, "I love you" more, even when it's awkward, even when it's scary, even when it's not returned, because she said it without flinching. And I want to be like that. I started asking better questions. What are you pretending not to feel? When did you stop singing? What would you do if no one was watching? Her questions, her voice, her legacy. I've started collecting joy, not the big kind, not the Instagram kind, not the small kind, not the quiet kind, the kind that shows up in tea steam and bird songs, and the way the light hits the floor at 4 p.m. I started understanding that grief is not a problem to solve. It's a truth to carry. It's a love that didn't get to finish. It's a story that keeps going even after the last page. I've started living like she's watching, not judging, just cheering, just laughing, just whispering. Don't forget the moon. I've started making space for her in everything I do, in the way I speak, in the way I write, in the way I show up, in the way I refuse to be small. I've started becoming the person she believed I could be. And it's not perfect. It's not clean. It's not linear. Some days I still fall apart. Some days I still forget. Some days I still ache. But I keep going. I keep building. I keep remembering. Because she didn't teach me how to avoid pain. She taught me how to walk through it. She didn't teach me how to be normal. She taught me how to be real. She didn't teach me how to be liked. She taught me how to be loved. And I carry that now in my voice, in my work, in my rituals, in my questions, in my silence. I didn't move on. I moved with it. And I'm still moving. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Narrative Mindset Podcast.